It's a beautiful Sunday evening, this 15th day in the month of January, being the 15th day in the year 2023. I welcome you to another Sunday rendezvous with your anchor, Olushayo Babatunde is my name, on your Danny Magazine program, Sunday Extra. Sunday Extra is a weekly news sequencer from the stable of OSBC Radio 104.5 FM, Voice of the West, Nigeria. Today's edition of Sunday Extra is no other but a thought in the year 2023. And with this, I am welcoming you on board a brand new package of Sunday Extra. Let me quickly remind you of some key events in the just concluded week. Councils for parties to the election petition at the Osun State Election Tribunal, sitting in Osogbo, the state capital, presented their respective addresses as a court reserved judgment in the electoral disputes filed by the former governor Adegboyega Oyetola to overturn the last governorship election won by Senator Ademola Adeleke. In another climb, the horrible murder of a couple, Kehinde and Bukola Fatinoye, and their son Oreoluwa, by yet to be identified assassins at their Ibara, Abeokuta, Ogun State residence on New Year's Day, vividly mirrors man's degeneracy and echoes Nigeria's descent into lawlessness, regardless of the hearsays or permutations beclouding the Fatinoye's case. People have called on the police to restore public confidence in their operations by timely exposing the killers. Also in the outgone week, veteran Nollywood actor Femi Ogurumbi, popularly known as Papa Ajasko, gave up the ghost. His death was confirmed by a theatre practitioner, Hussein Shaibu, via his Twitter handle. This is Sunday Extra, reaching you live from the broadcasting village of OSBC, Voice of the West, Nigeria. Chiefly before everything else, let me give you the main gist of the whole package. I am Olushayo Babatunde. Federal government requests Conra members' details for salary payment. Should governor advocate such a national dialogue on sustainable financing of the security sector? Melon nuns at 16 die in Plateau accident. And Sunday Extra today examines the current statistics of divorce, especially among young couples. Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke has described the laying of wreaths as solemn members of the gallantry officers who paid the supreme price for the defense and stability of the nation. The governor stated these while addressing service chiefs, legionnaires, widows of fallen heroes, as well as other indigenes at the grand finale of the 2023 Armed Forces Remembrance Day held at the military cenotaph in front of the House of Assembly in Gbagan Road. Governor's office correspondent Abdulrakim Adekileku now completes the story.
Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke led the Deputy Governor Prince Kola Adewusi, Speaker of the House of Assembly Honorable Timothy Oweye, Chief Judge of Osun State Justice Oyebola Adepile-Ojo, service chiefs to the military cenotaph located in front of the State House of Assembly to pay last respect to the tomb of the unknown soldiers. It was a gathering of all arms of the Nigerian Armed Forces, including the Army, the Navy, Air Force, Immigration Service, Police, and Nigerian Security and Civil Defense, among others, as well as members of the Nigerian Legion, wives of the fallen heroes, and civilians who thronged the venue to pay last respect solemnly to the loving memory of the fallen heroes. Turn by turn, the Governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, Speaker of the House of Assembly, Honorable Oweye, Chief Judge of Osun State, Commander of the ECC of the Nigerian Army, Brigadier General K.F. Suleiman, Commandant of the Nigerian Navy, Center of Education, Training and Technology, Ile-Ife, Captain A. Manguve, Wing Commander IG Izendu of the 209 Quick Response Group, and Chairman of the Nigerian Legion in Osun State, Comrade Oladipo Peters, laid wreath at the tomb of the fallen heroes. Speaking at the occasion, Governor Ademola Adeleke described the gathering as a solemn tribute to the dead as well as the living of men and officers who paid the supreme price for the continuous existence of Nigeria as an indivisible entity. Senator Adeleke, who agreed that the nation is faced with mounting security challenges at this time of national and global economic crisis, called for a re-evaluation of the financing options to cater for military hardware, welfare of personnel as well as veterans.
It's an opportunity to recap our commitment to men and women of the armed forces, living and dead. Our gathering is a solemn tribute to the dead as well as the living. We are celebrating men and women who pay the supreme price for the continuous existence of our nation as an individual, as indivisible entity. We salute our home, our heroes, the gallant servicemen whose blood was spilled for national defense.
Prayers were offered for the repose of the souls of fallen heroes and their families by religious leaders, while a minute silence was observed in the memory of the fallen heroes. Earlier, the governor, in company of senior military officers, had inspected a parade and guard of honor mounted by the Army, the Navy, Air Force, and the police to commemorate the grand finale of the 2023 Armed Forces Remembrance Day, while the burial party paid their last respect with the traditional rites of gun salute. It has been Abdurrahim Adekilekun reporting.
Similarly, the 2023 Armed Forces Remembrance Day held at the National Arcade, Eagle Square, Abuja today. President Muhammadu Buhari, Vice President Jemil Shibajo, Senate President Ahmad Lawan, Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Olukayode Ariwola, service chiefs and other dignitaries attended the briefing ceremony. The Osun State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal had reserved judgment after it had listened to the final addresses by the Council to all parties. Meanwhile, Oshiluwa shall be performing the post-mortem on the submissions of the various legal representations on the OSBC Weekly Current Affairs Yoruba Personality Interview Program. Guests on the program is the Special Assistant to Governor Ademola Adeleke on Media Monitoring, Mr. Sherif Akintude, and a member of the opposition All Progressives Congress, Alhaji Wahab Ojiniyi. As usual, Oshiluwa will also give listeners an update of the sit-at-home order by Apple, among operatives of the secessionist group. Kept updates with the anchor Latif Abbola and his guests, Mr. Sherif Akintude and Alhaji Wahab Ojiniyi, as Oshiluwa takes the airwaves at the 1:15 in the afternoon of OSBC Radio 104.5. The Edo State Police Command say 12 more passengers who were abducted at the Ubeaja train station have been rescued and hurt in Ogiboa Forest. Today, the State Police Commissioner Mohammed Dankwara said the rescue mission was made possible by the joint forces working tirelessly to ensure that the victims were reunited with their families and hurt. This brings to 18 the number of victims rescued, while some others who are staff members of the Nigerian Railway Corporations are still being held captive by the kidnappers. The spokesperson of the Nigerian Police Force, Olumuyiwa Adejobi, has debunked the rumored planned strike by members of the force. Adejobi, who was apparently reacting to a publication by an online news platform on a purported planned mega protest in Lagos by policemen over alleged 6 months unpaid salaries arrears, said policemen protesting or embarking on strike is not possible. According to the online platform, only grade levels 3, 4, 5, 6 and few 7 police officers were paid arrears, while those in grade levels 8, 9, 10 and 11 were not paid, saying that the Assistant Commissioners of Police up to the Inspector General of Police, Osman Baba, had however been paid 4 months arrears. The report added that another senior police officer was quoted as saying that senior inspectors from Lagos Police Command are planning to protest at the Lagos Command headquarters tomorrow over the unpaid 6 months arrears. Debunking these in a series of tweets over the weekend, the first PRO Adejobi said most times he laughed when he reads what some bloggers and news platforms write or publish on policing in Nigeria. Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong and former Governor of the state, Senator Jonah Jang, have expressed grief over the death of 16 supporters of the People's Democratic Party who were involved in a fatal accident after the party's zonal rally in Pangshin local government area of the state. The victims were said to be returning from a rally when a truck conveying them crashed near a bridge in the Pangniam community, Mangbu local government area of the state. In a statement today, Governor Lalong described the incident as tragic and a huge loss to the state. Lalong, while commiserating with the families of the victims and those who sustained injuries, also sympathized with the PDP family in the state, as well as its governorship candidate, Caleb Mutfang, over the sad incident, praying that God will grant eternal rest to those who lost their lives and quick recovery to those who sustained injuries. The governor also appealed for caution among motorists and supporters of political parties during the electioneering period when vehicular movement is heightened. He urged them to put safety first and observe road safety regulations to minimize cases such as this. And now we're moving to Sunday Extra proper. Sunday Extra package by Sonia Honor, it examines the current statistics of divorce and separation, especially among young couples. Sit back and enjoy it.
Divorce is described as the act by which a valid marriage is dissolved, usually freeing the parties to remarry. In regions in which ancient religious authority still predominates, divorce may be difficult, especially among the Orthodox religion such as Catholics, Methodists, Anglican Church, Hindus, where marriage is essentially viewed as indissoluble. Separation also occurred in cohabiting relationship, even though less cumbersome than legally backed conjugal contract. Several factors were usually proved as responsible for marriage collapse or separation, but basically boils down to lack of commitment on the part of the couple, infidelity, conflict and argument, lack of physical intimacy, as well as lack of shared interest and incompatibility among partners. Current statistics of divorce and separation among couples reflect an alarming rate, especially among the young couples. Speaking with Sunday Extra on the development, Dr. Femi Bibilari argued that the increasing rate of divorce and separation is likely due to absence of fear of God and genuine love, just as Princess Kikelomo and Bimbola submitted that mothers should endeavor to inculcate more moral values in female child.
Collapsing of all these marriages is due to some reason. One, there is no fear of God. They don't fear God. Majority of them, they don't go to church, they don't go to mosque, neither are they even traditional believers. There is no genuine love. They are just getting married for the sake of getting married. Not unlike those days, whereby there is love, whereby they believe strongly in marriagehood. But this time around, they just get married, and within 6 months, 12 months, the marriage will collapse. I think the economic downturn, some of them, they do not believe that it takes a lot of courage, it takes a lot of finances to get married, to get hooked to somebody. So when it now they now start it and they discover they cannot continue, then the next thing is to break up.
Discipline, a lot of ways that the mother ought to raise the child. In those days, for instance, when I was growing up, my mom, despite her tight schedule, she normally devotes time for us. She was a big business woman, a contractor. But before she leaves the home, she wakes up by 4 a.m. When she woke me by 4 a.m., before I even stand from my bed. Up to today, I don't have a washing machine. I wash with my hands. Then I thought she was punishing me. Unless she was raising me. When we go for prayer meeting in the church, 5 a.m. So we will not go with the car. She has fleets of cars. We will trek. What is the want to instill? By the time you trek from home to church, so when you get to church, you will listen to what they are doing in the church and you participate. That way, she inculcated the fear of God into us and the efficacy of prayers. And the moment a child has the fear of God, there's nothing the child will not do positively. But these days, the mothers now, they don't have time for themselves, talk less of the children. How many homes we wake up? How many of these mothers will wake by 4? They won't. Everything has to be done by the house help.
In his perspective, Mr. Badmus Abdul Wahid enjoyed religious centers to initiate counseling points to stem the tide of divorce and separation.
The rate in which we are finding divorces in our community today is becoming alarming, and I think one of the causes that is causing that is that when we are getting into that union, there are some things that we need to look into, and one of it is compatibility. And when we are talking about compatibility, you look at it from the angle of education, financial strength, and some other things in the society that need to be considered before going into that union. But today, when they now come together and they later realize that the lifestyle this one is living is not in compatibility or is not in good consonant with mine, so they will start having frictions. So that is why it is very good for the elderly ones to guide them right at the period of getting to know each other before it results to a matrimonial union. One of it is that we lack what is called counseling. So we need to establish a good counseling unit from in our religious circles, be it Muslim, Christians. When we have this counseling unit, so we will counsel them so that before they go into that union, we will know whether they are compatible. If there are things that we need to adjust, we make adjustments.
If marriage is indeed for better for worse, understanding, perseverance, patience, as well as prayer remain significant prerequisites in the marital journey of a lifetime. Sonia Ononide for Sunday Extra.
Thank you, Sonia, for that report. And Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke during the week engaged in several activities and at repositioning the state for economic prosperity and development. High point of the activities was the first official visit of the governor to President Muhammadu Buhari in the presidential villa at Abuja, where he solicited special support for the state and lauded President Buhari for entrenching democracy through the Electoral Act. Governor's Office correspondent Abdulrakim Adekilepon packaged the events for Sunday Extra.
Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke left the state for the presidency in Abuja to pay official visit on President Muhammadu Buhari for the first time since his inauguration in November last year to thank the president for signing the Electoral Act into law, which enabled him to be elected as governor. Senator Adeleke said the Electoral Act enabled the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to conduct a governorship election in Osun State that was globally acknowledged as credible, free and fair. The governor said he had appealed to the president to assist Osun State in the areas of infrastructural development so as to make life more bearable for indigents and residents of the state.
To tell you that I just saw our president looking so well, looking so good. Since my election, I feel like I should come and say hello to Mr. President and thank him for signing that Electoral Act, because I benefited from it. That paved way for free and fair election. And all the international community, they are applauding Nigeria, that Nigeria is set for democracy.
Earlier in the week, the governor led party loyalists to Ilesha to flag off the PDP campaign in Osun East Senatorial District, where he thanked the constituents for standing firmly with him during the July 16 governorship election. Senator Adeleke appealed to the people of Osun East Senatorial District to vote for candidates of the party in the forthcoming general elections to enable the party rescue Nigeria from the pangs of hunger and economic hardship.
Our 100 days at Berebai.
Also during the week, Senator Adeleke performed the inauguration of the ad hoc committee for actualization of the proposed University of Ilesha, where he mandated the Professor Ashaolu Taiwo-led 11-man committee to come up with white paper for a sustainable university that be ranked among best citadel of learning in Nigeria.
If you are assets, funding requirement for both capital and current expenditures for the eventual takeoff of the university. 2. Review and assess the sources of funds for both capital and current expenditure for the eventual takeoff of the university. 3. Generally review the implementation guidelines proposed by the implementation committee. 4. Engage all relevant stakeholders, including the host community, trade unions, alumni associations of the government, the student body, etc., etc.
The governor also played host to the leadership of Methodist Church Nigeria from the dioceses of Ilesha, Oshogbo, Ijesha North, and Imesile, who came to pray for the governor, his team, and the state at large. Senator Adeleke, while appreciating the men of God led by Archbishop of Ilesha Diocese, Most Reverend Amos Akindeko, assured them that his government will run an open-door policy for transparency, accountability, rule of law, and the fear of God. He preached religious tolerance among residents of the state, saying that his administration will do everything necessary to guarantee freedom of religion and association.
Our 100 program has begun already. So by the time that we sit down, you will see light. Light will not also state. Or should still be a reference point to Nigeria. If you come over and do it, we'll be charging them before tomorrow we do it, so that we can take it to other states.
For Sunday Extra, it has been Abdurrahim Adekileku reporting.
Ahead of the 2023 general elections in Nigeria, the Institute for Media and Society organized a capacity building workshop on digital and multimedia storytelling skills for women journalists in Nigeria. 30 participants drawn from different media organizations in the southern part of the country benefited from the training. OSBC reporter Oluchi Amoda says the workshop held in Benin City, Edo State capital, was founded by the European Union. Her reports.
Time is ticking and the countdown to the much anticipated 2023 general election in Nigeria has begun. The different stakeholders in the electoral process are playing their parts towards ensuring the success of the election. One of such stakeholders that has over the years been championing and empowering journalists with necessary skills to be able to effectively beam searchlights on salient issues affecting children, women, people with disabilities and the vulnerable groups so as to effect the desired changes and promote good governance is the Institute for Media and Society, IMS. This time around, the Institute organized a workshop on digital and multimedia storytelling skills for women journalists in Nigeria. The workshop brought together 30 women journalists from various broadcast media organizations from all the states in the southern parts of the country who converged on Benin City, Edo State capital. Explaining the motive behind the 2-day training, Executive Director of Institute for Media and Society, IMS, Dr. Akin Akingbulu, stated that the workshop was aimed at strengthening the digital storytelling skills of women journalists so as to actively participate in the electoral process. Speaking in the same vein, Head of Program Manager, IMS, Mr. Timothy Bamidele, stated that the capacity building workshop for women was founded by European Union and aimed at promoting good governance. He urged the 30 participants drawn from various broadcast media organizations from all the southern parts of Nigeria to employ the skills learned in repositioning the media in terms of accurate and balanced reportage of issues. In her remarks, President National Association of Women Journalists, Mrs. Ladi Bala, maintained that women journalists are critical stakeholders in the electoral process, and the workshop is meant to expose them to issues that must be given visibility. The facilitators, Mrs. Eyizoji Ohiane and Mr. Cyril Usifu, maintained that this period is the defining moment in the annal of Nigeria, hence the need for women journalists to take chance and create stories that will make impact in society. Two of the participants, Mrs. Adesua Ebon of the FRCN Edo State and Mrs. Chioma of Radio Sapientia Onitsha, described the capacity building as timely, just as they appreciated the organizers for a job well done.
The new media is actually trending presently on even more than the conventional or traditional media, and I find that it's very pertinent for women journalists to try as much as we can to adopt this new trend in our profession. And of course, when we do, we're going to achieve lots and lots of positive results.
I'm already brainstorming on how to go about it. So I'll start the interviews, the voice pop, the explainers, all that I've learned. I'm going to put it to work. And of course, IMS will see all the things that they've taught us. They will see everything happening on the internet.
The workshop had earlier been carried out in the northern part of Nigeria, where 30 women journalists equally benefited, which brings the total number of participants from across the country to 60. Oluchi Amuda for Sunday Extra.
And here again are the main gists of Sunday Extra for today. Governor of Osun State, Senator Ademola Adeleke, has advocated urgent national dialogue on sustainable financing of the security sector amidst national economic crisis. In Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong and former Governor of the state, Senator Jonah Jang, have expressed grief over the deaths of 16 supporters of the PDP who were involved in a fatal accident after the party's zonal rally in Pakshin local government area of the state. Sunday Extra package examines the current statistics of divorcee separation, especially among young couples. And that's all we have for you today on Sunday Extra. Many thanks to my audio officer Jumoke Oladipo. The secretarial assistant has been Nike Olowokunle, and the executive producer remains Abimbola Babatunde. Not forgetting to mention Latif Agbola for providing the needed assistance from the sidelines as well as from online Babatunde. Temitakola Iwola is my producer. Remember to join us for another lovely edition of the program next week Sunday. And until then, I am Olushaya Babatunde saying plan to be a blessing to someone this week. Good evening.